West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination. We have the Federal Mathematics 2024 paper here. The points be -1, n minus 1, then q n, n minus 3, then r n minus 6, 3 are collinear. Find the values of n. So if they are collinear, it means they all lie on the same straight line. So if they all lie on the same straight line, then their gradient should be the same. So we can find the gradient this way. So we can use PQ to find the gradient. That will give us n minus r minus n minus 1. That is y1, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is x1, y1, we have x2, y2. So that's what we did here. Then again, we can use this q and the r to find the gradient. So we can say this is x1, y1, and we have x2, y2. So y2 minus y1, which is 3 minus n minus 3. Then we have n minus 6 minus n. Then we can simplify this to obtain, we expand. So 3 times, we expand, -1 times n is negative n. Then -1 times 1 will be positive 1. Then n minus 1 will be n plus 1. Then n minus n will be 0, so we have -6 in the denominator here. -1 times n will be negative n. -1 times -3 will be positive 3. So we simplify further. The 3 plus the 3 will give us 6 minus the n. Then over here 2, n minus n will go away. We have 1 minus 3, which is -2. So we can cross multiply now. -6 multiply -2, and n minus n plus 1 will multiply 6 minus n. Now we can expand. 6 times n will be 6n. 6 times 1 will be 6. Negative n times n will be minus n squared. Negative n times 1 will be negative n. Then -2 times -6 will be positive 12. So we simplify. 6n minus n will be 5n. Then we have negative n squared here. Then 12 minus 6. So 12 minus 6. This comes to subtract this. When we simplify further, we get n squared minus 5n plus 6 equals 0. So we need to factor. So 2 factors of 6 that when we add we get -5 are -2 and -3. So we split the middle term with -3n and -2n. That will give us -5n. So we can factor. The highest common factor here is n. So we factor the n, and that will give us n minus 3. We factor the -2 here. We have n minus 3. So this will give us n minus 3, n minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, n minus 3 equals 0, or n minus 2 equals 0. And that will give us n to be equal to 3 or 2. So when we substitute n equal 3 or n equal 2, so let's take for instance n equal 2. When we substitute, we are going to get this point, -4, 3, and PQ. As you can see, they are in a straight line. And when we substitute n equal 3, we also get this, which is also in a straight line. Thank you for joining us to solve this question. See you in the next video. The 7th and the 33rd terms of an arithmetic progression APR 12 and 0 respectively. Find the sum of the first 69 terms of the progression. So let's begin. So recall that the seventh term is given by a plus 6d, and that is equal to 12 according to the question. And we're also given that the 33rd term, so a plus 32d is equal to 0. So the two equations we can subtract, and that will give us 26d is equal to negative 12. So we can divide through by 26 to get negative 6 over 13. Because negative 12 over 26, we have two that can divide both 12 and 26 to give us negative 6 over 13. We can solve for a now by plugging in negative 6 over 13 into equation 2. So wherever I see d, I'll put negative 6 over 13. Then I'll simplify, solve for a to get a equal 192 over 13. So we recall that the sum of the first n terms of a sequence is given by, that is an arithmetic sequence. The sum of the first n terms is given by what you're seeing here. So we now plug in the value of a, and n is now equal to 69 because we are finding the sum of the first 69 terms. So we know the a already, we know the d, the a here and the d here. We plug in into the formula, and that will give us what you're seeing here after substitution. So we have to simplify to get 69 over 2 times negative 24 over 13, and that will give us negative 828 over negative over 13, or negative 63 whole number 9 over 13. So that is the sum of the first 69 terms of the progression, which is trapezium rule. Using trapezium rule with 6 ordinates, find correct to trace decimal places the value of the integral of 3 over square root of x plus 1 dx, integrating from 0 to 4. So how do we do that? We need to form a table. Or what is the meaning of 6 ordinates? 6 ordinates means you should use 5 trapezia. 5 trapezia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or the ordinates are, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 ordinates they are talking about. So we need to find the height of this trapezium. The height will be given by h is equal to b, that is 4 minus a, which is 0, all over number of trapezia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or number of ordinates minus 1, 6, 6 minus 1, which is equal to 4 over 5, or 0.8. So we add 0.8 to 0, that will give us this point. Add another 0.8, that will give us this point. Another 0.8, another 0.8, until we get to 4. So our table will look like this. So we plug in the x values into the function here. So plug in 0 here. You get 3 over square root of 1, which is 1. 3 over 1 will give you 3. So you plug in 0.8 here. Whatever you get, you write it at least to 4 decimal places because you have to correct to 3 decimal places. Then plug in this one here. You get this value. Plug in this one. Where the x is, get this value, like that, to get to the last one. So we recall the trapezium rule. The formula is given by 1 over h times y1 plus y sub n. It's not y1, it's y naught. So we have y1 plus y2 plus y3 up to y sub n1. Good. So y naught plus y sub n. That means add the first and the last, add them. Then the remaining one, these ones, multiply them by 2. So that is what the formula is saying. So when you do that, this is what you get. So you add the first and the last. That's what we get here. The remaining ones, these ones, you multiply them by 2 and add them. So that will give us, when we simplify, we get 0.4 times 18.7166, and that will simplify to 7.48664. And when you run it to three significant figures or three decimal places, we have 7.487 square units. So what is question number 4 saying? Question number 4 is on trigonometry. We have to solve 8 cos square x plus 2 cos x minus 1 is equal to 0 for 90 degrees to 270 degrees. So that is in the from the second to the third quadrant. Okay, so let's see. We are solving. So we have 8 cos square x plus 2 cos x minus 1 equals 0. We can rewrite it so that we can do substitution for cos x. So when we let m equal cos x, wherever we see cos x here, we put m there. So this will give us 8m squared plus 2m minus 1 is equal to 0. So this is a quadratic equation in m, and we can factorize this by splitting the middle term. So when you multiply this by this, you get negative 8. Now the factors of negative 8 that will add up to 2 are 4 and negative 2. That's why we are using it to split the middle term. And the next thing is we factor. So when we factor, we are getting the highest common factor to be 4m. Then we are obtaining 2m plus 1 minus 2m plus 1 times 1. So we factor the 2m plus 1 again because it's common to both sides, common to both terms. So we have 2m plus 1 into 4m minus 1 equals 0. So either of the factors must be equal to 0. So we have m to be equal to negative 1 over 2 or 1 over 4. Now we are in the second to third quadrant. This is 90 and this is 270 here. So we are looking for the one that is satisfying these two regions. So we know that cos, this is cast. So we know that cosine is positive in the fourth quadrant here, and the first quadrant all are positive. So that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for where cos is negative. So the negative half is what we are going to use, because cos is negative in this quadrant and this quadrant. So we are going to make use of cos x equal negative 1 over 2, because we are going to discard this one since it is not part of the range we are looking for. So x will be equal to 180 plus cos inverse of half. Half is the principal value. So the principal angle will be cos inverse of half. That is the acute angle. Then we'll take it to the second quadrant, which is we take it to the third quadrant, which is 180 plus the principal angle. So that is the third quadrant here. So that will be 240 degrees. So 240 degrees will be here. Then the second quadrant will be 180 minus that angle, which is 120 degrees to be here. So hence the values of x are 120 degrees and 240 degrees. The marks scored in a test by 7 candidates in mathematics and physics are given in the table. Calculate the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. So Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, that's what we are doing here. From the table you can see the rank of mathematics, the rank of P physics. So we are ranking from highest to lowest. So highest as first. For mathematics, the highest mark here is 7, so that is the first. Then the next one is 6, that's the second. The next one is 5, that is the third, till we reach the last one, which is 7. So we rank the P also, the rank of P, starting from the highest as 1. So the highest mark here is 7, so that is 1. Then the next one is 6, that is 2. Second, so third is 5th, till we reach the last one, which is 7. Now we can find the difference between the ranks. So 4 minus 2, negative 2, 1 minus 3, negative 2, 5 minus 4, 1. Then we square the differences, the deviations, and that will give us what you're seeing here. Negative 2 square is 4, negative 2 square is 4, 1 square is 1. Now the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient is given by this formula: 1 minus summation of d squared times 6 into n squared minus 1. And the summation of d squared is this one. When we sum them, we get 16. And then also the number of pair, we have 7 pairs over here, 7 sets of pairs of points. And we can now substitute these variables into the equation or into this formula to get 1 minus 6 times 16 all over 7 times 7 squared minus 1. 49 minus 1 will give you 48. 48 will go into 96 2 times. So we have 1 minus 2 over 7, which is 5 over 7, or 0.7143. So that is the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. We have question 5 here. The probability that Ade misses a penalty is 2 over 5. If he plays 8 penalties, calculate the probability that he misses correct to 4 decimal places, no penalty. So we have the P to be 2 over 5, and the Q will be equal to 3 over 5, and N equal 8. So we apply the formula with X equals 0, and that will give us probability to be 2 over 5 all exponent 8, which will give us 0.0065 to 4 decimal places is 0.007. The B part says exactly 5 penalties, so we plug in X equal 5, and that will give us 56 times 2 over 5 exponent 5 times 3 over 5 exponent 5. And that will give us 0.1239 to 4 decimal places. The position vectors of 2 points P and Q are P equal 4i minus 2j and Q equal 2i plus 3j, respectively. Find the scalars alpha and beta such that 7i plus 7j is equivalent to A, that is alpha times P, vector P plus beta times vector Q. So this is the equivalent equation given to us. So what do? We substitute the vectors P and Q, and that will give us what you're seeing. Then we expand with alpha and beta to get what you're seeing. Now we group the terms with I and the terms with J. So we can now equate 4 alpha plus 2 beta to 7 and negative 2 alpha plus 3 beta to 7, getting two equations. So what do we do next? We can solve these equations simultaneously for alpha and beta. So we multiply equation 2 by 2 to get equation 3. Negative 4 alpha plus 6 beta equals 14. Next, what do? We can now add equation 3 and equation 1 to eliminate alpha. So that will give us 8 beta equal 21. Therefore, beta is equal to 21 over 8. We can put the value of beta into equation 1 to get 4 alpha equal 2 times 21 over 8. 4 alpha plus 2 times 21 over 8 equals 7. Then we can now solve for alpha to get 14 over 32 or 7 over 16. We have question number 8 here. Before we start, please kindly share this video for me. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And please subscribe. Thank you for your subscription. A uniform plank PQ of length 20 meters weighing 55 newtons on a ceiling with an inextensible wire 3 meters away from P. To keep the plank horizontally, it is made to rest on a support 8 meters from Q. Calculate the tension on the wire and the weight W exerted on the support. So we can illustrate it like this, with this being the tension in the wire, which is 3 meters from P. So this will be 7 meters, because from P to the center, which is the 55 Newton, that's supposed to give us 10 meters. So we also know that there's a support here, 8 meters from Q, and there will be a normal reaction here, which will be equal to the weight of the weight exerted on the support. So right from here, it means this one to be 2 meters up to the middle of the plank. So right from here, we can use the fact that sum of upward forces will be equal to sum of downward forces. So this will give us one equation. Then again, we know that clockwise movement about this point here, which is the 55 Newton, will be equal to 7 times T tension in the wire. It should be equal to anti-clockwise moment about the same point, which is 2 times W. So we have two equations here, or 7T is equal 7T minus 2W is equal to 0. So let me call this equation 2. Now if we add equation 1 and 2, we will obtain, okay, let me multiply through this equation 1 by 2 to obtain, so equation 1 by 2 will give me 2T plus 2W is equal to 0, is equal to 110. So this is equation 3. So equation 3 plus equation 2 will give me 2T plus 7T, which is 9T, is equal to 0 plus 110, which is 110. So T will be equal to 110 over 9, which is equal to 12.22 newtons. Then again, we can substitute this into equation 1 to get W equal 55 minus 12.22, and that will give us 40. 42.78 newtons.